So let's start this video now. Last episode was a mess. The whole German Empire is on its knees. While the Trade Confederation, the Baltic Trade Alliance, just straight up just exists, being the Germanic version of the Baltic Federation, and we're basically just moving here. What basically happens here is that this area just gets annexed. Many Romans flee. The fact is, many Romans flee. The fact is, many Romans flee now, so the main game move into to the areas such as the whole German Empire and Lusatia, which causes the start of the Renaissance. Yeah, thought it wouldn't be. Is this area occupied? So let's skip it. But today, with the peace established, the world can finally focus on this area. Now, due to the war, many people. Okay, this is mostly explored. Barely anyone lives here, and the claiming process just started. But eventually, the first non-colonizer societies start to form. These are independent societies. This includes Boston. Boston starts out independent, of course. The Bostonians are independent, and they become the main refuge during the Great War. During the European War, the Great European War. They quickly settled in the areas in New York after taking over Long Island. This area is, I think, inhabited by English. So the English have an unconnected colony, and they are trying to discover a way to connect it. Well, on the other hand, you could just move into the to 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 here. To Philly. So they mainly do the normal route. They set up outposts here, and they connect these areas. So Britain so England, it's pretty secure now. Now these things are not very by Lusatia, which is settled in what is currently Washington D.C. And but they will expand over here. Another route was discovered, specifically the Mississippi River Complex. The Mississippi River Complex also is a huge place for refugees as settlements form across the river. Same in the Louisiana swamplands. Now the swamplands get discovered by the empire and by Ghana, and Ghana colonizes all of this area. It, and Ghana sets up small outposts over the Caribbean, not really trading outposts, but more like colonies, as currently the mineral wealth of the territories is unknown. And while though North America is filled with minor refugee societies, this includes the development of Cahokia, the Cahokians quickly expand into the, the lakes and the river basin area, becoming a great one of the new settlement powers. But since they are not but they are pretty much disconnected, so they only develop a few cities across the war period, which the war lasted for a long time. It had lasted about 50 years ish. So yeah, the early modern age is beginning. Gunpowder shows up. No, it already exists during the war. It started to show up. So gunpowder shows up now. Since the colony's repopulation efforts they were pretty slow, the free settlements, which is New England and Cahokia currently, and the many minor tribes over there start taking over most of the land, and then settling their own outposts. For example, Cahokia uses modern day the areas near modern day Detroit as an outpost to connect and trade with English. Now the Cahokians, even though looking like the English, are descended from the English. The English are fucking confused to who the Cahokians are. So the Cahokians are the so-called natives. So so well, the only one that does know that they colonized this area too is the Empire of Ghana, which has traded them with for all of Cahokian history, which is Cahokia is pretty recent, by the way. Eventually some traders just discover Yucatan. Now the Yucatan Peninsula gets discovered, but it's quickly left behind. What becomes the new main area for now is this. Here they find out about corn, and some explorers go into the Amazon. And the Amazon's a very lush land, but it's not that good at supplying civilization. Compare that to Oregon, which would be great for supplying a civilization, or the Oregon country, of course, or Cascadia, if you're using the modern term instead of the term used by people in the 1800s. Eventually, all the Amazon River is explored, and this is where they discover potatoes. The potato and they go crazy about potatoes. So modern day Peru gets easily colonized and gets built up by the Potato Empire. Now, to why is it called the Potato Empire? It's because it the only thing it really does is farm potatoes and then sell those potatoes because the potatoes are the heat right now in this in the sun the potatoes. Well, maize is discovered over here, and maize doesn't get as much as traction as potatoes, which becomes the new hot thing and becomes the food for the rich. I know sailors. I know sailors explore the us to start exploring over here because they know the Earth is round and they've heard somewhat about the New World, which they theorized that the the thing could be very much near them. And there was one voyage that was successfully able to discover Kamchatka, this area, this island, and the Aino Fleetland and Alaska. This isn't what the New World they were thinking about, but they do explore. They explore down south and discover Hawaii. And San Francisco, the Bay Area, Baja California, and eventually they go as far and eventually one of their and they discover southern Mexico. And southern Mexico has maize, so they decide to to tell their king what of their voyage, the Aino king, the northern Japanese king, and the northern Japanese king along with a bunch of settlers. And the king himself goes there for legitimacy, of course. Do you think he cares? And he will do another voyage, but this time, everywhere he goes, he declares it a new settlement. He discovers this area, it becomes a new settlement of the Ainu. Well, the Ainu somewhat, and by the way, the Ainu aren't that disconnected, but they only really know the New World from as they barely know the New World. They just think that they've heard somewhat about the New World, but they didn't cover it due to but they were easily able to discover the New World through the trade route map. Then a small Congolese fleet, which the Congo is not really that populated, discovers the Rio de Janeiro area. And yeah, with that, let's end the video. Thank